Hello there, Star Traveler here again. I wanted to talk about something. This is a free-form conversation. It's not going to be like anything scripted or anything. So there's no particular prior thought that had been put. Just wanted to say about, talk a little bit about why do I like astronomy. Exactly, am I kind of a bit of infatuated by it a little bit? Not just astronomy in general, but it's also like astrophysics, cosmology, science in general, like also physics, chemistry, math, biology. But astronomy is the most like the driving force and the one that is kind of combining everything essentially to me. It's often said that astronomy is a poster child for sciences, meaning it's kind of like the most appealing and the most fascinating of all the sciences and the most interesting probably as well. Well, that's what I think the perception is. I have to agree in some sense at least of it, where for me it's I have a bit of a kind of it's a personal perception of it that astronomy is kind of an all-encompassing science from my point of view at least. Maybe it's not so. I am not a specialist in any STEM fields or anything like that. I'm more of a hobbyist or like not very educated in this regard. Though I have been like informed of some certain things about it, about astronomy and as a science in general. And from a very young age, I kind of was always fascinated about space and planets and the universe itself. I guess one of the reasons would be probably that it's kind of a bit. Astronomy might be considered to be a bit of a humbling science in general. Like it is kind of shows our place where we belong, sort of like in a way that there's a bigger world out there. There's more to the universe than what we perceive in our day-to-day lives. Because we, as humans, we are not very conscious of it existing out there. Because it's not something that we experience in our day-to-day lives, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist there. There are quite a few things that we don't understand still about it. That's why we still try and continue to learn and understand it more. That's what science is for, to understand more about the universe, how it works, and its functions, and so on. But to me, is also there's a bit of a kind of a philosophical approach to it for me, from my perspective. As the astronomer Phil Plait said, it's a humbling science. And I have to agree that kind of puts in our place, kind of reduces and a bit of like the self-centeredness and the self-importance of ourselves, and kind of like makes us look at ourselves from a perspective. that there is something larger, bigger out there. Something that has more profound meaning and, I guess, uh, that we are not kind of like the center of the universe, even though kind of it might seem at times like that. But there are grander things out there. Or kind of like, sort of like that. I'm not saying that humans are kind of insignificant beings that just kind of don't mean anything. That's not what I'm saying, though. That's certainly not it. Because we are essentially quite important in the grand scheme of things. Without us, there wouldn't be any perception of the universe. There won't be any like conscious thought about what the universe is like, and no desire to understand it, no desire to explore it. Mm. To understand how the universe works, to me personally at least, is to understand my own origins and where I come from. Why do I exist? And as well as to understand other things about the universe and the surrounding things that exist all around me. I know I'm not very good with words currently. I am slightly anxious, but I do want to express this. That our origins come from the stars. One of the reasons why as my artist pen name, I call myself Stardust Child, is because pretty much we are made out of star stuff and constructed from the materials that were forged inside the cores of giant, powerful stars. And that for those materials to leave the star's core, an epic event would have to happen. A star would have to die extremely violently. And very spectacularly, becoming the brightest thing in the galaxy, outshining it by quite a bit margin. And it kind of is poetic, I think, in some sense, that in order for us to exist here, something big would have to die. So essentially, we're not that small in the end. Yes, sure, you can like put a geometric like size comparison between like a star, a galaxy, and like a Earth and humans eventually. And you can kind of see how tiny, small, and insignificant, quotations, we are. We're not really insignificant. I know that a lot of astronomers and a lot of people kind of like try to say that, because they're kind of trying to compare sizes and purely like energy output and things like that. Yes, certainly we are a little tiny blip in all the grand scheme of things. Our impact on the universe is pretty much zero. But we as a human society, as a human civilization, as a species in general, we are pretty young in comparison to the entirety of the universe. And it will take time. I mean, heck, less time has passed even for our civilization to develop, and say like for a star to form from a gas cloud. So there is still time for us to shine, so to speak. We're at the very beginning, I'd say, of our grand journey across the universe. Assuming that humanity will not end up exterminating itself. That is a topic for a different time. But I like astronomy because I want to know what's out there, to put ourselves into perspective. What kind of worlds exist? What kind of possibilities are there? To explore the unknown. The unknown, while might be frightening at times, it is fascinating though. And you want to understand. And you want to know more. So, I guess the reason why I like astronomy is because it allows me to seek the unknown and turn that unknown into a known. As silly as that might sound. I just want to learn and understand the universe. I want to understand things, why they work, and the way they work. Maybe eventually I would understand also why we are here. Certainly, there is an argument to be made about the fact that we are here by chance. That will make me so. Even so, we do live in a universe that allows for life and intelligence to exist. So, sometimes I have to ask myself why that is. Mind you, I'm not a religious person. I don't believe in God or gods or any other mythological creature or legends. I like science because it analyzes the world for what it is and tries to understand why something exists the way it does, and tries to find the most impartial and objective answers. Not always we succeed in this, but it is a process. It's not a dogma. It's not really something where you can just put your blind faith to. Science is about questioning things. It's about finding out answers. And astronomy is what can help as well in my personal aspirations of learning and understanding the universe, satiating my curiosity. It's fascinating to see what kind of worlds are out there. It's fascinating to imagine myself being on those worlds. Naturally, we humans can't really survive on most of them, at least not without any specific technologies. But nonetheless, imagining at least how it would be walking on the surface of various planets, soaring across the clouds of gas giants, exploring the interstellar space, perhaps finding some rogue planets, some undiscovered tiny black holes. Who knows? Maybe there's also other beings like us, or somewhat like us, that also are contemplating the questions of why they exist and if there is life out there, as Carl Sagan put it. life seeking out life. It is a topic that I would love to discuss some length, sometime in the future as well. Currently, I'll leave it out because it's also quite a big topic for conversation. The major aspect of astronomy to me personally is specifically the unknown and the desire to find out. And the answers that I'll find them might actually bring me closer to understanding as to why am I here, why we are all here. And it's not about just aesthetics, meaning like yes, the nebulae are very pretty. The pictures that the Hubble Space Telescope or the James Webb Space Telescope are taking, and then among others, are quite pretty. Nonetheless, it's not about just aesthetics. There is beauty in the complexity, as Richard Feynman once put it. Or at least I'm trying to paraphrase what he said. To sum it all up, I guess it's just the fascination for the unknown, for seeking answers for grand questions of why we're here, how are we here, and to understanding my own place in the universe. I guess to some degree, partially, it's also about solitude. When I explore, in my mind at least, the worlds and universe itself, I imagine myself always being alone. As it currently seems with humanity is that we are kind of alone right now, from what we can see, as I am alone most of the time, or at least I'm feeling like I'm alone. You can't help but feel how dark, cold, and lonely the universe is. It's quite often in general, like it's just it's quite scary as well. Like I said, then the unknown can scare us quite easily. But as you find out more about things, the less scary they become. I suppose that's the reason why I also want to learn and understand the universe, is to be less scared of things. So basically, I guess that's what I kind of wanted to convey for now. So I will bid you a good day. Have a good one, everyone. May the stars shine upon you in a well way, I mean in a good way.